Broads Media.
Well, we have a Tobias Harris problem. Oh, man! This is gross! Gross! And I've been probably the last one in the city to hold on to the Tobias Harris stuff, meaning I've been praising him, saying, I know he's better than what he's been putting on the floor. I wasn't defending his crap. His crap wasn't good enough, and it needed to change. I was more willing to give him the opportunity to get out of this rut because at the end of the day, he may not be worth that money, but he isn't this piss poor every single night until he is this piss poor every single night, and then you have to do something about it if you're Nick Nurse. So the Sixers lose in Boston. They hold on more than I thought they would throughout the game, really because of Tyrese Maxey. That kid was everywhere. That kid was sick. He was so damn good. It was electric watching him play. And he had some help with Bamba, with Campaign, but you also go through that rough spot with DeAnthony Melton leaving the game with back problems again, and that doesn't look good whatsoever. Tobias was minus 20 in 29 minutes, shooting 2 of 7 from behind the arc, 5 of 19 from the field. Buddy Hield didn't help at all. He was minus 24 in his minutes, and he shot 2 of 8 from the field, 2 of 7 from behind the arc. You can't live without Buddy Hield chucking them and making them from behind the arc right now because, well, you're so damn desperate, and a lot of your offense is going to be Buddy Hield, whether you like it or not. It's not good that you have to rely so deeply on it, but you really don't have much of an alternative when Tobias stinks like this, and Kyle Lowry only made 1 field goal in his 20-plus minutes or so. He played a total of, what did he play? 23 minutes, 1 field goal made. Ricky Council, of course, that's a name that people are excited about, and fine, I got no issue with trying anything at this point. There's nothing to lose here, right? I mean, you're going through the motions, as a fan, that is, me, watching the regular season without Joel Embiid. You want to get weird, you want to get awkward, you want to do something that maybe we didn't plan on doing prior to the Joel Embiid injury, whatever, fine, I don't care. You want to sit Tobias Harris? I don't care, because playing Tobias Harris hasn't been helping with any sort of victories right now, so let's see what can happen if you change some things. That's it. The fact that this was actually a 2-point game in the fourth quarter is mind-blowing. Campaign hit 2 threes in a row, and then weirdly enough, Tobias hit one of his own, and it was cut to 2 points, but they just didn't have enough firepower to keep up with the Celtics run and Jason Tatum, and I didn't expect this thing to be close whatsoever. I projected it to be a blowout at some point, and it is what it is. But they held on. They did. They were in there. They fight. They do. They just don't have enough horses, unfortunately, when the guy that isn't there anymore is what is supposed to stop everyone defensively. When I watch other teams target the rack and when they attack the paint, my first instinct every single time is, well, Joel Embiid's presence would have stopped that. Just his presence, him standing there, him being around, the awareness of the opposing squad knowing, well, hold on a second, the big fella will eat me alive. You don't even attack anymore. Well, now you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. It's gross. Hey, we'll talk about this all. Before we continue, though, we are on a mission to continue growing Broads Media in every way possible. So if you are enjoying this, make sure to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. And we have more Broads Media content coming your way. Coffee with Broads is back starting March 28th, which is opening day. Join the Broads Media membership here on YouTube for $4.99 a month, and you will have access to Coffee with Broads live streams every Monday and Thursday at 11 a.m. It'll be very laid back, super chill, very interactive with you and the chat. There's also a Broads Media Discord channel that is currently active today, where we communicate live when games are going on, talking about all the action in real time, and just shooting the shit with one another. It's a blast. Nothing is changing with the current model. It's just an added bonus if you want some more. So I'm looking forward to starting Coffee with Broads live streams again, March 28th. And make sure if you're interested, you grab your membership today down below. I appreciate all your love and support. You like some of the small ball lineup stuff? You like Batum playing small ball lineup? Like I said, man, at this point, I'm not going to destroy or annihilate Nick Nurse with any sort of decision. It just won't bother me. And sometimes I see it during the game on social media. I can't believe he's playing these two guys together or a combination of these three guys. And, hey, I want to – the ones that I could get behind is if you want to see Lowry and Maxey or whatever. Like, there's things that I could totally understand that you would like to grab a few 5-6 minute span to see what it's like. Tobias on the bench for 6 minutes. Paul Reed going to the bench. Oh, okay. Hey, Nick, what are you working with here? I don't really complain when you're dealt this type of hand, because what are you going to do, right? Like, there's no obvious answer. Maybe the obvious answer now is less time for Tobias, but from a general standpoint of the entire lineup and the entire rotation, right now it's a free-for-all. It's sort of, you have a space here, Nick, to be able to try whatever you want without any sort of repercussions, to a degree. The Tobias one has reached a point where now I think you have to have a legitimate conversation. But at the same time, let me say this, and I don't even know if I believe this yet. I'm just talking out loud and seeing if we can come to some sort of consensus here. If Joel Embiid returns, and if Joel Embiid gets back, do you have a shot if Tobias stinks? Hear me out. Can you live in a world where Joel Embiid is back and he plays well, super well, very good actually? So he's back, he feels great, his knee's all right, he's conditioned, we're in the playoffs, they win the first round, they're in the second round. And if you get this version of Tobias, and I like Ricky Council a lot. I think we all like Ricky Council a lot. The dude's showing energy. He's showing he can play. It's exciting. It's different. Came out of nowhere. Awesome. There's a big difference, though, between that and then legitimate playoff postseason success. And I'm not saying he can't do it. And I'm not saying he can't perform better than this version of Tobias Harris by any means. Like I said, I'm talking out loud here, so just hear me out. Do you need Tobias to get back to reasonable Tobias next to Joel Embiid to have a real shot of getting out of the second round if Joel does return? Or can you be better without Tobias as a starter? And Ricky Council's in there. He's getting more run. Is that a higher upside? Can you even put a lot of stock in that? Because if you were to face off, and I'm just spitballing, if you see Boston again in the second round, in a 7-game series, is Ricky Council ready for that? I don't know. Hey, I'm willing to try, I guess, but I'm just trying to pretend like I'm Nick Nurse here. And if I'm projecting how I can get my best version of this team during the playoffs and what I can visualize with this unit, and I'm trying Tobias because I need it to be Tobias. So I have to find a way to get him going. I have to give him time. I have to get him run. I can't just sit his ass on the bench because I need him. If I can see us getting over the hump in the second round, as much as I like Ricky Council, there's a difference between starting in regular season games and starting in a 7-game series against the Boston Celtics. We need Tobias to help out defensively with Jason Tatum. We need Tobias to give us that spacing and to actually have respect shooting threes where teams aren't allowing him to take wide open looks and giving him treatment like he's Ben Simmons. You know what I'm saying? Is that possible? I don't know. I truly don't know. I'm not going to pretend like it is, and you need Tobias to win. I don't know. I truly don't know. And we did get a little bit of an update on the current status of Joel Embiid. Woj spoke yesterday on, what was it, The Jump? It was one of those ESPN shows. So I'll pull up the audio in just 1 second here so we can hear what he had to say on Joel. He's going to get reevaluated soon here, although the phrase reevaluated and the 76ers, they never sit in a comfortable spot for me. Whenever I hear it, I get pretty nauseous, and then I think I'm going to throw up, and it's a whole disaster, honestly. It's a shame that this Twitter account that has the clip tweeted a billion times last night about garbage that I really don't give a damn about whatsoever. There's even a baseball highlight in here. What are we doing, people? Okay, perfect. Here's Woj on the latest with Joel, Hans, Embiid. Oh, what do you know? How many times do you think I do that where my audio isn't set up the right way? Seriously, how many times? A billion?
They still are optimistic that they can get him back. I think there's some hope, that they can get him back on the court by sometime in late March, back starting to get into condition. And listen, the goal here isn't necessarily to try to bring him back and see how many regular season games you might be able to win with him. The goal is to get him as healthy as he can be for the postseason. Hope they can hang in where they are and then have as spry and mobile and conditioned of a Joel Embiid as they can for what would be either a play-in game, maybe as a 7th seed, or at 5 or 6, a nightmare first-round matchup for a team that gets home court advantage in the East, and all of a sudden here comes a healthy Joel Embiid with Buddy Hield, with Kyle Lowry, with the additions, but probably about a week away from him getting an update on a timeline with him. But I think there's still optimism in Philly that we will see Joel Embiid again this season.
All right, that's good. I mean, optimism that we see him back on the floor matters to me. It really does. Now, it actually made me very, very upset to hear about the potential the play-in round. The play-in round. Oh, my God. We live in a world now where we're discussing the play-in round. You know what would be funny of this whole thing? And this would never happen, but it would just be so Sixers. The year they win the championship, or the year they at least get out of the second round, is the year where Embiid misses a huge portion of the backstretch. You get all these new players at the deadline. He's got to walk back into the rotation without playing and without being conditioned. He's got to work with all of these new weapons around him. And then they got this awkward first-round match. They got a play-in game. They got this, they got that. And then they actually get over the hump when it's all said and done. That would be so Sixers basketball, wouldn't it be? Now, this also bleeds right into something on the Pat Beverly pod about the Sixer staff and how they handle Joel Embiid. And, I've been saying this from the rip. Malpractice. This is malpractice the way the Sixers handle Joel Embiid, where, he's clearly not 100%, but he keeps going out there. I don't know if it's because they wanted to keep that record going of dropping 30-plus points and having all these rebounds and putting up 70. You got to value the long term of Joel Embiid. It did not seem like that was the case. And remember, there were reports about, Joel Embiid wanted to play, and it was Ramona Shelburne talking about that back-to-back situation and the Denver game and a Portland game and this and that, and he warmed up, but then everyone thought he was going to play, and he warmed up, I don't know, and then he went, and then this, and then that. It's like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? I can't even keep up with this garbage. That's real. That was real. That was Sixers basketball, and it can't be that way. And Pat Bev gave us a little bit of inside perspective. He had Richard Jefferson on his pod, and they were talking about it. Let's take a listen here. It's very fascinating.
I got a little heat from Joel Embiid when he didn't play in that Denver game. I will never question a player's injury, but at some point in time, you have to recognize that this is a pattern of behavior that he has not played in Denver since 2019, I believe.
He's fighting through knee injury for the last 9 games. And no one knows about.
But he still scored 70 points. So my point is this: you rest 2 days before to get ready for that matchup against Jokic. I go and tell Jamal Murray, I was like, yo, Joel's out. He's like, no fucking way.
We walking out the locker room. We try to get out there by 18 on the clock, run out by 18.
Yeah.
I get out there, me and Nick Batum. Yeah, I don't think Joe playing. What? Mind you, this is 18 minutes before the clock. We don't even know what's the fuck going on. Yeah. Joe's trying to fight through it. Literally, knee hanging on by a thread. We found out 14 minutes on the clock.
So after a couple games later, Kuminga rolls on his leg. And, Joel, now he's really pissed off because he's fucked up. And I'm like, I ain't had nothing to do with that shit. I'm like, Joel, I would never question a player's injury. I am only saying what the basketball community and culture is saying.
I told Joe don't play 2 weeks before that because he was hurt.
Okay, I'm going to play San Antonio Spurs, bum team, Charlotte, bum team. You feel me? I know I got to make 65 games. I got to see how the fuck I'm going to make 65 games to get MVP. Also to get millions and millions and millions of dollars in incentives.
Escalators with the All-NBA stuff.
I'm witnessing people spray numbing spray on this man's knee during the game. Like,
Vioxx, Toradol.
I'm like, what the fuck is that? Shit I've never seen before. Just to get through the third quarter. People don't understand. He was giving motherfuckers 30 and 40 in 3 quarters because that's all he had.
That's crazy. I mean, that's absurd. How are we in the position? And you know what? Remember, there wasn't too long ago where Pat Bev also said on his pod about how people in Philly, and I didn't like the way he handled things because he's just playing into the cards of whatever fan base he's at. So when he's in Milwaukee now, he's talking to the Milwaukee fans like you're the greatest in the world. And when he's talking to the Sixers fans, when he was on the Sixers, it was the same exact thing. No one works harder than Joel. No one works harder than him. He's running sprints with me during this time of the year, that time of the year. He's trying to get conditioned. So he just sings the praise of wherever he's at. And I like Pat Bev a lot. I think he's awesome with his personality. I do like it. But one of the things that he brought up that I didn't necessarily prefer is when he said that people in Philly only care about their individual statistics, and then there was speculation, well, was he talking about Oubre? He was talking about Joel Embiid. Come on, man. He's talking about Joel. No one cares if you talk shit about Kelly Oubre. The dude's on a contract where he averages 20 points per game, but he only sniffs a minimum contract. Like the dude, no one cares if you're going to talk smack on Kelly Oubre. It was about Joel Embiid and Joel Embiid only. But hearing that, the 65 game, like that was obviously in his mind. And it has to come down to the Sixers organization making sure that he doesn't put himself in harm's way. What do you get paid to do as the Sixers? I'm not mad at Joel. All right, Joel has to approach the regular season, and he's got to play these games, and he's not going to sit for 40 of the 82 just to get to the finish line. He's going to attack every game because that's what you have to do. You got to play the game. So he's just playing the games. There has to be people surrounding him to put him in the right positions to succeed, and you can't let him make all the decisions. You just can't. You can't let him make those decisions. Yo, Joel, you got to listen to us here or else X, Y, and Z could happen. And X, Y, and Z obviously happened. To hear that, though, from the inside, that's a problem. And that's a problem surrounding others than just Joel. Yes, in an ideal world, I wish Joel recognized that himself, where he's like, hey, I don't need numbing spray on my knees to get through third quarters, right? Here we are as a fan base cheering and excited that the Sixers are winning so much that Joel could just casually sit out the fourth quarter. And yeah, there was a comfortable lead, so it makes it easy to think that that was obviously the move. But it seems like the move was really because this dude has a knee problem that's hanging on by a thread, and you're just constantly playing another 30 minutes, constantly playing another 35 minutes. We can't be that naive. We can't be that silly. We can't be that dumb from a Sixers organization standpoint, and that is bothersome. That really did hit me in a way that made me very, very angry. You put yourself in this, but this wasn't unlucky. Now it's to the point where it's like, it's not unlucky that you're here. It's like, oh, another Joel Embiid. The Sixers kind of did this to themselves. Now, the original stuff, like, obviously at one point his knee was bothering him and they continued to push it, so you could say it's unlucky that his knee was bothering him originally, but it's not unlucky that we are in the position that we're in now because you played this card, and this is what happens when you play this card. It sucks. It just sucks so much. All right, before we continue to some Anytime Hotline, we're going to rock the text board. A lot of good texts came in for the show today. Let me tell you about my friends over at HelloFresh. What is HelloFresh? Well, it's farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes that get delivered right to your doorstep. So you can skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why they're America's #1 meal kit. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees. In fact, they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. Now that's worth waking up early for. Don't let recipe boredom strike because HelloFresh has more options than ever before. Dig into their biggest menu yet with over 45 dinner options to choose from weekly and even more market add-on items that suit any lifestyle. So you can go to HelloFresh.com/BroadsFree and use code BroadsFree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/BroadsFree with code BroadsFree. Make sure you check out the link down below in the description. All the information is there, and you can join the HelloFresh family today. So the Anytime Hotline text messages here. Let's start with this one. This shit is unwatchable. Seriously. We get our hopes up every summer thinking if Joel can stay healthy, we have a shot. We can sit here and be angry about Nick Nurse not putting Tobias' ass on the bench, but what are we really doing here? I'm sick and tired of losing to Boston, and I'm sick and tired of wasting my life on Sixers basketball. I don't have much time left on Earth. I can't be wasting it. Oh, man. I kind of get it, though. I do. I kind of get it. As much as I watch every dribble, and we all do. As Sixers fans, we all do. It's weird. It's weird. You know, you go into a matchup against Boston. You know what it feels like? Okay. There's seasons when Joel's healthy, when Jimmy Butler's available, Ben Simmons is there over the years, and you saw a game against Milwaukee. And remember, they just played Doc Rivers at home. All the boos came down raining on Doc. And I got a take on that I'll get you in just a second. But when you play Charlotte, when you play a team that's got 7 wins, when you play the Wizards, you go, all right, you think it'll be over by half. You'll kick ass. You watch from a distance. Every game's that way now. You never imagine a world where you play Boston in Boston and it feels the same way as a game against the Washington Wizards when fully healthy, when you're just going to beat them up. You just kind of watch blah now. You watch with a blah attitude. Not against Boston, not against Milwaukee, not against these big-time opponents, but even with these big-time opponents. Yeah, it's exciting to watch Maxey grow, and it's awesome to see him get a steal, move out in transition, and use his speed to get to the rim, and nobody can even come close to him. There's excellence around Tyrese Maxey, and it's really fun. But that only goes so far, right? I want to beat the Celtics. I want to win a championship. I want to have faith that they can actually go do something. Right now, it's such an unknown. So this individual labels it as essentially you don't have much time left on Earth, so you don't even know if it's worth minutes sitting down and watching them dribble. It is. Let's not go too far here. It is. But I understand the premise of your point. Now, the Doc Rivers boo. All right, here's my hot take on the Doc Rivers boo when he returned to Philadelphia for the first time. That boo is a Ben Simmons boo. Ben Simmons quit on you. And I remember the rough times at Doc when he thought that the fan base was off base with wanting to sit Ben, but he was really just protecting his locker room, showing players that he has belief in them. He eventually sat Ben anyway. He went through the whole phase of, would you ask, Pop that question? Yes, I would ask Pop that question. He was not the greatest with relationship with some of the media, and he had his times of being very hostile, but I think it's really because the organization really wanted to protect Ben Simmons and his babiness, and then that put Doc in a tough position. And Doc's in a weird spot right now on his own, going on podcasts, saying the Bucks should have never fired the previous coach, and now he has to lead those men when he's basically admitting that he doesn't deserve to be in that position. Doc has totally went off the rails a little bit. But just in regards of Phillies fans booing Doc in that return, I know a lot of people don't like Doc Rivers, but to me, that level of boo is is a fuck you boo. And while Doc didn't necessarily work out here winning a championship, I don't think he deserves a fuck you. Like, he didn't. I think he gave it his all. Like, he went in every day and gave us everything of Doc Rivers. Now, everything of Doc Rivers isn't enough, obviously. At this time in his career, everything Doc Rivers brings is not enough. But he didn't not give it his all. I think he came in every day, busted his ass, worked his ass off, and it wasn't enough. But does that deserve the fuck you boo? Ben Simmons deserves the fuck you boo. The Carson Wentz drama, how things were handled towards the end, the hostility, the relationship broke, and all that stuff. Even Carson Wentz, I think, deserved a little bit of the fuck you boo. Did Doc deserve the boo? If Brett Brown came back, would Brett Brown get a fuck you boo? Or would he get an appreciation boo because more time has left? If Brett Brown returned a year after he left, it probably would be more of that boo. I don't know. I just didn't think it was necessary for that type of boo. That's all. Just because you don't win it all, there's a difference between giving up on your team, Ben Simmons, I hate this fan base, the crybaby that he is. Doc didn't win. But there's a middle ground between you didn't win a like Andy Reid didn't win a championship with the Philadelphia Eagles. Does he deserve that boo? Or do we love Andy Reid? I don't know. Some fans hate Andy Reid. That's just my 2 cents. Take it for what it is. I'm sure that'll piss some of you off. Here's another text here. I actually want to take positives here, bros. Didn't you expect getting blown out? You probably thought it would be a night to tune into Flyers hockey halfway through so you can start catching the second period. They made it a 2-point game in the fourth. But if only Tobias knew how to play basketball. Love the show, bro. So you're taking the positives. I've seen some positives out there just in regards to the score in the fourth. But as soon as you bring up the fact that Tyrese Maxey, Ricky Council helped out and campaign, it automatically shifts to Tobias Harris needs to go on the bench. So I don't know how much positivity I saw out there. It's hard for me to feel that, though. I can't. I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't. It's not in my DNA right now to rah-rah the positives about Boston. I can't stand Jason Tatum. I can't stand Jaylen Brown. I can't stand the biggest fraud in sports, Al Horford, who deserves to be in jail for having a contract that was essentially robbery. Jail. Can't hit a pick and pop in the Philadelphia uniform. Can hit a pick and pop every single second for the Boston Celtics. Jail. I want him in jail. Al Horford, ew, gross. I can't stand. My toes are starting to curl. Nah, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Interesting night in Boston, bros. Yep, Tatum feels the same way about Tatum. Dislike Tatum. And watching the TD Garden explode after a big bucket in the fourth. Credit to Maxey. Kid is special. At least we have that joy. True. There were definitely moments in the fourth when Boston ran away with it and they were showing shots of the crowd and they were standing up and they were clapping and all of it. It's brutal. It's just brutal. I got a text from my buddy up in Boston ripping me apart this morning. I woke up to the text. I go, dude, it doesn't matter. Dude, it doesn't matter at all. I can't put any value in a game without Joel. And he said, yeah, just an injury-prone dude. Well, I can't even rebuttal. What do you want me to say? I normally try and stick up for my guys. I can't even stick up for my guys. What do you want me to say? There's truth to it. All right, everybody, those are my thoughts on the game in Boston, the update on Joel Embiid, and we'll continue to monitor this squad as they go through a little stretch here without the big man. All right, everybody, appreciate you. Love you to death. We'll be talking very soon. See you on the next one.